Okay, that's a little creepy. There's definitely something moving in there. Hello, everybody. My name is Lori, and this is a Minnesota backyard where we look at the small joys and simple wonders found right in our own backyard. Well, Courgette is here today to help me introduce today's topic, which is about the small furry critters that live in the backyard. Now, some of these critters are just passing through, while others have taken up residence. So let's go ahead and meet some of them. Gray squirrels are a common sight. This fellow has just chased away a rival and is enjoying a rest in this maple. He hears something. It's another squirrel climbing up his tree. Will he have to see this guy off too? Fortunately, the intruder changes his mind. You can often hear gray squirrels vocalizing. Their distinctive call sounds a bit like a duck with a bellyache. So far, the gray squirrels have made their homes in other places in the neighborhood, but it doesn't stop their families from coming over to play in the yard. One critter that has taken up residence is this red squirrel. Red squirrels have this distinctive call that sounds a bit like a machine gun on helium. This black walnut in my neighbor's yard is a very valuable resource for the red squirrel. In the fall, she busily collects all of those nuts, which she then stores in my shed. Here you can see what remains of the cache of walnuts which got her through the winter. I also appreciate how she organized her nuts by carefully inserting one each into these planters. We can also see the nest she made for herself, safe and snug during the cold winter. In addition to the shed, the red squirrel squirrels away those walnuts in a variety of unlikely places around the yard, some places more secure than others. She also buries quite a few, giving me a crop of walnut seedlings every spring. So in addition to the red squirrel, which lives in my yard, this year I'm noticing that my yard is becoming home to quite a few rabbits. Now this pair was flirting a little earlier, although now the female is saying she is not interested. And who could blame her, because she has been busy raising a family under the deck. These little guys are starting to venture out of the nest, but for right now they're sticking pretty close to the deck where they can just run and hide when they get nervous. But it won't be long before they gain confidence and venture out into the rest of the garden, and then I will need to think a little harder about how to protect my plants against their predation. But here at my house, the predation against plants happens inside as well as outside. Here is Courgette enjoying some old banana leaves. So let's get back to that thing that was moving in the leaves earlier. I discovered it was another bunny nest built in the open in the front yard. Here we can see one of the kits looking out. It's early evening, and here we can see the doe has come to visit the nest. And if we look closely, we can see the babies leaving the nest to meet the mother. Now I know that this is a little grainy, it's kind of dark, and I wish the picture were better. There we can see the babies coming out. And notice how she stands. She's standing up so that the babies can crawl underneath her to nurse. After the mother leaves, the babies return to the nest and wait there for her next visit. I watched this doe come back to the nest evening after evening for the next several days, but it wasn't long before the babies were ready to leave the nest for good. So in this evening, the babies came out to meet the doe for one last feed before they left the nest completely. I counted about 5 babies, but there could be 6. Once the doe left, the babies began to scatter to find their own places to hide. So that is a lot of rabbits, a lot of rabbits. So we'll have to take some steps to protect the plants. Although I have had some casualties already, the Dutchman's breeches that we saw a couple weeks ago, they're all gone. Oh well, we'll have to work harder to protect them next time. This time, let's take a look at some of the native Minnesota woodland plants that are in bloom right now. Woodland natives are great for those difficult places in your yard in shade and under trees where it can be difficult for grass or ornamentals to grow. These are wild geraniums. They do well in the shade but also in partial sun. They do tend to spread, so you want to cut off the seed heads once they stop flowering. These are Mayapples. Mayapples have this single white flower on their stems underneath these big umbrella-like leaves. This is Jack in the Pulpit, a really recognizable favorite of the woodlands. This is starry false Solomon seal. These plants spread through rhizomes to form dense clumps in shady areas. This is native columbine. They produce these beautiful flowers at the ends of these long stalks. This is meadow rue, and it is one of my favorites. Meadow rue can grow in partial shade, but it also can grow in some sun, so it has some flexibility of where you can plant it. Now, as far as what's ready for harvest, we're in the middle of asparagus season. Many perennial herbs are also ready, including oregano, lemon balm, and chives. Chives are another one where you want to cut off the flower before it goes to seed, or you'll have chives everywhere. So thank you everybody for joining me, and I hope you can join me again.